'Twas the third time this season the mighty Crimson Tide fell. Guess someone forgot to tell him them dogs is hell. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the TBD College Football Show. I'm your host, Mason. And yes, I think Georgia fans can put all of their feelings into one word about the events that transpired this weekend, and that would be finally. Finally, we beat this team. We beat them in Atlanta. I got to tell you, I never thought in my lifetime, I knew I would see Georgia beat Alabama again, but I never thought I'd see the day in my lifetime where we beat them by 3 scores in Atlanta in the SEC Championship, where they're 4-0 against us, now 4-1. DeBoer no longer a undefeated coach against Kirby Smart, which is nice that we finally have a win against him and against Bama, and it just means a ton to win it in that game, in that building, in such a dominant fashion. We got a lot to talk about today. Let's get into it. Obviously, we're going to start off with the college football playoff rankings because now we know who is in. The 12-team field is set. We know who's going to the playoffs. Some people are upset. We understand why, so let's jump into it. Elephant in the room. Notre Dame. That's what's got so many people upset. Notre Dame, 10-2 team, has been ranked ahead of Miami the entire season, almost the entire season, after Miami took those 2 horrid losses, one to Louisville, one to SMU. Notre Dame's been right there ever since, even though Miami has had the head-to-head over Notre Dame. And I got to say, I think the committee got it right here. But if I was a Notre Dame fan, I would understand being upset. I know why you're upset. Because you got gypped. The committee should not have had you over Miami. You can't be mad at Alabama. Alabama was a 2-loss team. I know they got beat in the SEC Championship. We're going to get there in a minute. But Alabama's 3rd loss came in the SEC Championship game. And their strength of schedule is light years ahead. Miami, they have the head-to-head against you. You can't be mad at them. You got to be mad at this format. You got to be mad at the committee. You had to be mad at the committee. They should not have had you guys and given you false hope. They shouldn't. I think they got it right. I think that Miami should have been in over Notre Dame. But you look at teams like JMU and Tulane. And you know what? You look at Tulane. Tulane has 2 wins over Power 4 schools this year. And one of them ended up being the ACC champion, Duke. Which, by the way, I think this has a lot to do with it. I think Hunter, whatever his name is, Yurachek, I don't remember how to pronounce it. He's the chair of the College Football Playoff Committee. Reese Davis went in on him yesterday and asked him, why did you have Miami above Notre Dame this whole time? And he couldn't answer. He was like, well, BYU was right there in the middle. And Reese Davis asked, so it didn't matter until they were right next to each other? And he's like, he had no words. And then he lied right through his teeth. Reese Davis asked him, did you guys put Miami in so that the ACC would have a representative? And he goes, absolutely not. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. You did. Virginia losing to Duke, you weren't going to put Duke in. You put Miami in. You put Miami in so that the ACC wouldn't be left out. Now, I think that was the correct decision, as I've said, because I think that I value head-to-head so much. I think that Notre Dame did not have the head-to-head, and so that they should have been out. But like I said, this should have been done weeks ago. I don't care who Miami's 2 losses were. They have similar opponents. They have similar strength of schedule, and Miami had the head-to-head, and that should have been the end of it. That should have been end of discussion like 6 weeks ago. But it wasn't. They left Notre Dame ahead of Miami for whatever reason. So then what? BYU gets bounced in their conference championship. Now you've got Miami and Notre Dame right next to each other, and now you switch them? No. That's my only issue with it. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. And I think our committee is. I wouldn't say corrupt. I just think it's dumb. I think this is one of the worst committees we've ever had. I understand that it was one of the hardest decisions, but the way that the playoff is set up is dumb. We do not have the best 12 teams in the playoff. We don't. We have the 10 best teams in the country and 2 participation trophies. Because you're not going to sit there and tell me that Tulane is a better team than Notre Dame or BYU. And you're sure as heck not going to tell me that JMU is a better team with 123rd, I think, strength of schedule in the country. 123rd. I don't care if they have 1 loss or not. They have no wins over P4s. But why are they in? Because it's the way it's set up. It's the highest ranked conference champions, the 5 highest ranked conference champions. Obviously, you know your top 3, Georgia, Texas Tech, and Indiana. And then your next one, Tulane. I have my doubts with it, but Tulane at least has 2 wins over P4s. But then your 5th it could have been Virginia, and that would have been the end of it. Notre Dame probably would have gotten in. But you look at JMU. JMU's the 5th highest ranked conference championship. It's not even. It's not even close. But that's what people that's what the people wanted, and that's what they got. I'll admit, I thought it was cool. I was like, when this first came out, I was like, oh, sweet, we actually get a G5 in. That's kind of cool, but it's not the 12 best teams. I wish I would have never been a favor for that format, because it's not. Put the best 12 teams, because it's a participation trophy for the group of 5. This is my problem with the group of 5. It's a participation trophy. You're going to go and you're going to get blown out, right? We can look at the conference or at the rankings now, and we can look at the bracket. JMU is going to go to Eugene and play Oregon. That's who they're going to go play. They're going to go to Eugene and they're going to play Oregon, and they're going to get their brakes blown out. They're going to get their doors blown off by Oregon. It's not even going to be close. Tulane, they got to go play Ole Miss. Tulane's already played Ole Miss. They lost by 5 touchdowns. Now, Ole Miss is a weird thing, right? Because they have no head coach. Well, they have a head coach, but it's not Lane Kiffin. They get to keep Charlie Weiss Jr. for the playoffs, their offensive coordinator, which is a big deal for them. But, I mean, we're going to pick this game later, but, you're going to see Tulane may make it past the first round, and if they do, by some miracle, who do they got to go play? They got to go play Georgia. If JMU, by some miracle, gets past the first round, who are they going to... And they won't. JMU is not getting past the first round. JMU is not getting past the first round. But if they do, by some crazy miracle, they're going to go play Texas Tech. I guarantee you these teams are not making it out of the first round, and they sure as heck are not making it out of the second round. It's not happening. And that's the problem. We just gave 2 teams gimme games. Because you look at Georgia, Georgia is going to have Ole Miss. Ohio State is going to have Miami or Texas A&M. Indiana is going to have Alabama or Oklahoma. And Texas Tech is probably going to have Oregon. How's that fair? So Oregon and Tulane, Oregon and Ole Miss both get home games against G5s, while Georgia is going to play Ole Miss probably, and Ohio State is going to play Miami or Texas A&M, and Texas Tech is going to play Oregon, and Indiana is going to have to play Oklahoma or Alabama. It makes no sense. Those 2 teams were 5 and 6. They didn't even make their conference championship, and now they're going to get gimme games. What are we doing? This whole thing is so messed up. The playoff is not the 12 best teams. It's like I said, it's the 10 best teams and 2 participation trophies. Here's what I think we should do with the group of 5, because this is getting a little bit out of hand. Because Notre Dame and BYU just got screwed out of the playoffs, and that you can make an argument for BYU and say, put Texas or Vandy in there, and I'm actually kind of for that, because I think Vandy's one of the best 12 teams in the country, straight up. But here's what we should do with the G5. You should put the G5 in their own league. Right? You have FCS Division 1 and Division 2, Division 3, right? Okay, make FBS Division 1 and Division 2. Forget the P4, forget the G5, all right? P4 becomes Division 1, G5 becomes Division 2. These group of 5 schools, they are never going to be able to recruit. They do not have the money. They're not going to be able to recruit and get the money at the same level as the Power 4 schools. I mean, Ohio State's roster last year cost them $20 million in NIL. You are not going to get that at schools like Tulane or JMU. You're just not. You're not going to get the same recruits at that level. You are not going to be a better team than a Power 4 school. They're going to make the playoffs in this format, and people are saying, we'll go to 16. The same thing is going to happen, right? You're still going to have a group of 5 bids that don't deserve to be there. I'm for a 16-team playoff, and I think we're still going to have issues with this team deserves to get in, and they didn't, right? Now, we've given a little bit of leeway, right? Because it's they lost 2 games. If you lost 2 games in the 4-team playoff format, it was you're not getting in, right? But if you lost, now you can lose 2 games. We have a bunch of 2-loss teams in the playoffs this year. We have a 3-loss team in the playoff this year, Alabama. But that's besides the point. We need to put the G5 in their own league. They can have their own playoff system. They can have their own championship, and that's what it should be. Because they're just going to take away spots from teams who really deserve it. Tulane does not deserve a playoff spot. JMU does not deserve a playoff spot. I think it even got to a point where I honestly was considering, I think Duke might be a better team to put in over JMU. I mean, if you're going to put JMU in, you might as well put Duke in. Because Duke at least won a Power 4 conference and beat Virginia, a top 20 team. JMU doesn't have anything like that. They beat Troy in the Sun Belt Championship. congratulations, and that's good enough for a playoff spot, it's a charity bid. That's all it is. It's a charity bid. And it's ridiculous. Put them in their own playoff format and stop taking away opportunities from teams that actually deserve it. Because I think that Notre Dame and BYU and a little bit Texas and definitely Vanderbilt all have, gripes, righteous gripes with the committee and with the format. They have to be mad at the format. And it sucks. It really does. And I feel for Notre Dame. It sucks. But it is what it is, and it's the format we have, and it needs to be fixed. And it's not going to be fixed by going to 16 teams. Take away the auto bids. I mean, I personally, I like that. I think the top 4 championships should get in. I think the top 4 champions should get in. And this year we had 3 of them, right? The 4th one, Tulane. You can make an argument Tulane is good enough. And I'm not saying there is never a group of 5 team good enough to make the playoffs. There has been some good teams over the years that have made it, like Cincinnati in 2021. They were good enough. They would have made this 12-team playoff. But not every year. Not an auto bid. If you're one of the 12 best teams, then you should be in. If Tulane was one of the 12 best teams, if they had gone on the road to Ole Miss and won this year, if they had not lost to a group of 5 school, they would be in without having to win a conference championship and get an auto bid. It's ridiculous. It truly is ridiculous. Notre Dame fans, I feel you. But nonetheless, we are set. You've got number 1 Indiana after winning the Big Ten. Ohio State only drops to 2. We all saw that coming. I mean, they're probably the 2 best teams in the country. Georgia at 3 after winning the SEC. Texas Tech stays at 4 after winning the Big 12. Already mentioned that we have Oregon getting James Madison. And then we have a rematch here. And I know a lot of Alabama fans did not want this, and I know a lot of Alabama fans did. They want another crack at Oklahoma, but I know some Oklahoma fans are like, bring it on. They want it. They want Alabama to come back because everybody's been saying to them, well, they just got lucky. They got some turnovers here and there. They want a chance to prove that their defense is legit, get their guys back like R. Mason Thomas, who wasn't even playing in that game, and get John Mateer in the offense rolling again, coming off that injury. I mean, and they got like 3 weeks to prepare, really 4 because they didn't have to play in the conference championship game. I think they'll be ready. But we'll see. We already mentioned Tulane, Ole Miss, and finally, first round, we got Miami at number 7, Texas A&M. That's going to be a good game. That's going to be a really good game. We don't have lines for these games yet. Just kidding. Yes, we do. Alabama's favored by 1.5 at Oklahoma. Texas A&M favored by 4 at home against Tennessee. And Oregon 21 against JMU. Ole Miss 16.5 against Tulane. We will definitely see. We got some exciting playoff matchups, and we're gonna get into some of these conference championship reactions. All right, biggest one of the weekend, in my opinion, obviously, Alabama versus Georgia. We defeat Alabama, finally breaking that curse, 28-7, in absolute dominating fashion. It probably would have been 28-0 had the referee not run a pick play and Jeremy Bernard scored a touchdown, but whatever. I thought this was just kind of a cool fact. So actually on Saturday, I wore my Nick Chubb jersey while watching this game because the last time we had played a rematch in the SEC championship game, it was against Auburn in 2017. We won. We won last night, or on Saturday night. Guess how much we won by? 28-7. Guess how much we won by against Auburn in 2017? 28-7. I just thought it was cool. Both times we've had a regular season rematch in the SEC championship, we've won both teams from Alabama, and we won 28-7. So really cool there. Alabama, we shut them out through 5 straight quarters. Probably could have been 7 had we not given up, or 6. Had we not given that up in the in the fourth quarter, that touchdown. UGA, we had short field positions. That's how we won this game. And when you let Kirby Smart run a game in short field positions, this is what you get. Blocked punt. Change the game. Kirby is 18-0 now when blocking a punt in a game. Interception. We had a punt return by Zachariah Branch that got returned to the Bama 40. We had that 4th and 2 stop on Bama's 12-yard line. We're going to get to it in a little bit. And in this game, turnovers make the difference. In this series between Georgia and Alabama, turnovers have made the difference. I mentioned this last week, earlier this year when we played them. Nate Frazier fumbles at the 20-yard line. They score a field goal. We lose by a field goal. 2023 in the SEC championship, we fumbled the ball away on our own 20-yard line. They score a field goal. We lose by a field goal. Against Alabama last year at their place, we turned the ball over 4 times and lost. We lost on an interception. We were driving down the field, could have tied the game with a touchdown. Carson Beck throws a pick. I mean, you look at the 2021 game. We got the pick 6 that sealed the game. So this game has had turnovers be such a big thing in these games. And we won the turnover battle last night, the one turnover. I mean, I guess you can count it two if you want to count the block punt, because it technically is a turnover, and the turnover on downs. We were able to get some good field position in that game. Bama offensively, they just had no answer for the UGA defense. They were held to -3 rushing yards. Bama has not been held to negative rushing yards since 1968. In Athens earlier this year, they were 13 of 19 on third down. In Atlanta this time, they were 3 for 14. The difference, Georgia has much improved on the defensive line. We have been able to get so much pressure in on these teams, and we don't have to get sacks. Now, this time we did. We got 3 sacks this time, but we got 18 pressures. We didn't even need to get sacks. You just have to throw their offensive linemen back into their face. Just push them back and pressure the quarterback, and that's what we were able to do. If you look back at the FSU game, if you look at the OU game, you look at the Georgia game on Saturday night, when you pressure Ty Simpson, he folds. I remember thinking this against Oklahoma. After they had sacked him a couple times, you turned the ball over, there was a couple of times late in the game, they zoomed in on him right before he was, snapping the ball. He looked scared. He looked nervous. And this is not like me being a Bama fan. I didn't see this on Saturday night, but I just remember thinking like, hey, he looks really nervous. And I think that is a part of his character. He hasn't been pressured a ton this year. A lot of the teams that Alabama faced this year, they haven't had like amazing defensive lines, and they've been able to kind of do whatever they want to. I mean, they've had some close games, but Ty Simpson has not been pressured all that much. Against OU, he was pressured. Against Georgia, he was pressured. And when you pressure Ty Simpson, he folds. And I think that Alabama fans would agree with that. They're very upset with Ty Simpson right now, who's been really good this season. At one point was a Heisman candidate, but when you pressure him, he will fold. A lot of people want to talk about the Alabama defense not playing well. When you give short fields, that's what happens. It's hard, especially with Kirby Smart. You got to cut the head off the snake if you want to beat us. You did earlier in Athens, not this time. And I think the Alabama defense actually played well. UGA had 0 points off of drives that started on our own side of the field. Technically, the interception, that started on our own side of the field because of the face mask penalty on Dalen Everett. But we scored there, but it was technically still off a turnover. So on drives that were not off a turnover, that started on our own side of the field, 0 points. I think that they actually played really well, but, when your offense isn't doing anything and, they're giving up the ball on short field, what are you supposed to do, The 4th and 2, I mentioned I was going to get to this, and I'm talking about the 4th and 2 play call that Bama ran from their own 15-yard line near 8 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, they line up to go for it. And I'm like, you do not need to be going for it this late in the game. I didn't think they did. I thought that there was still enough time. You're only down 14, just punt the ball away, go and get a stop, get the ball back, and then do it again. I mean, Bama has had ways for them to pull these games out in the past. I thought it was going to happen. I thought they were going to punt. They lined up to go for it. And initially when they ran this play, Ty Simpson tried to hit Germany Bernard and threw it 5 yards out of bounds. Initially, I was like, terrible read, terrible play call. When you go back and look, there's a swing pass for the running back out to the left. And I was like, oh, he should have thrown it there. But if you really watch, you can see a UGA defender taking off for that running back, seeing the swing pass coming to fruition being a possibility. And instead, Ty makes the throw to Germany Bernard. And I actually think Ty made the right read. I do. I think him throwing it to Germany Bernard was the right read. He had gotten a little bit of a step on Dalen Everett. He makes a good throw. It's a first down. He made a terrible throw. Good read, terrible execution. I think I hated the idea of them going for it if I was a Bama fan. You want to try to make something happen with the way that UGA's defense has been playing. But your defense was playing pretty well, giving Georgia the ball on the other side of the field. I think I would have gone for it right there, or I would have punted it right there, but. Anyway, UGA killed the UGA offense, killed Alabama in time of possession. This is what Kirby does. I mentioned this earlier. UGA 36 minutes, 52 seconds. Bama 23 minutes, 8 seconds. So we had the ball for about 13 minutes longer than they did. We averaged 3.5 minutes per drive. When you keep the defense out there that long, you're going to wear them down, especially on short fields. King Kirby, he is a master at that. This is what he does. You just keep running the ball. And because we can run the ball effectively, we can drain defenses, and it's what we do, and he just squeezes you. And he does it in the first half, too. But even on drives that ended in punts, we had one drive They ended on a punt that lasted 7 minutes and 45 seconds. We were just running the ball. You just run the clock out. You can't let him do that to you if you're Alabama, and that's what they did. So all in all, very exciting win for UGA. I'm just glad that the curse is kind of broken. That we got some get back. Alabama fans, the way you guys were feeling after that game is the way that we felt for a long time. So just know that we definitely understand your pain. But very, very glad to have gotten this one. We'll see what happens in the playoffs. We're going to get that first round bye. And I kind of said last week, I was like, if we win or lose, it kind of works out for us because if we win, we get the first round bye. And if you remember last year, every single team that had a first round bye lost. Every single one of them. And if we lost, we go to the 5 spot. And guess what? We'd get JMU at home. Oh, well. So either way, like I said, very happy about this win. Great time. Loved it. And go Dogs. Anyway, next up, got our Big Ten championship winner. Yes, we do. Indiana, they finally got one over on Ohio State. Been a long time coming. They won 13-10. This is my apology to Indiana and Indiana fans. Last week, I picked Ohio State to win. I called Indiana fraudulent. I was wrong. You guys look like a really physical team. Won this game. Didn't see it coming. I said it was going to be close, but I do apologize. You guys are legit. My bad. And my apology to Ohio State. Last week, I also said that Bama had the best wide receiver core in the country, and for that, I apologize because I was definitely wrong about that one. You guys reign supreme. Carnell Tate and Jeremiah Smith are absolute dogs, and I do apologize because they, I don't know what I was thinking by saying that. They had a really good game as well, and I will say I think if Julian Sand did not have Carnell Tate and Jeremiah Smith, that would be a different story. But either way, I do apologize. As for the actual game, it was really defensive, more defensive than I thought it would be. A lot of good defense there, especially for teams that are averaging deficits around 27 points per game. Both teams only scored 1 touchdown. I mean, this is legit. This is what I've been saying all season about how I think that these teams are fraudulent because they haven't played anybody. Both of them, 6 out of their 9 conference opponents in the bottom 9 of the conference. Ohio State, the only team they've really faced was Texas. Texas has a pretty good defense. They only scored 14 points. And then you look at Michigan. Michigan has pretty good defense, but no offense. They can run the ball, but if you stop the run, you stop Michigan. So Ohio State, pretty good run defense. They stop the ball, they stop the run, they stop Michigan. All right. Indiana, only team they've played, Oregon. That's it. And Oregon, while they are a good team, is not the same team they've been the past couple years. So this is why I've been saying that I've seen these two teams as fraudulent. They finally got up against some good competition, and this is what happens, right? Both defenses really good, like I said. I think Mendoza, however, I think he just bumped himself up in the Heisman race over Sand. 15 for 23, 222 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 INT, QBR of 90.2 in this game. That's pretty good. Ohio State lost this game. You can look at a lot of people are going to say, well, we lost it on the field goal. Nope. You lost it on the 4th and 1. The 4th and 1 where Julian Sayin tried to run the quarterback sneak on his own or on the Indiana 10-yard line, and they didn't get it, and you gave Indiana another possession. Should have kicked a field goal right there. It would have been 13-13 right there. But you gambled and lost. That's really where this game lost because you can look at that missed field goal. It didn't help for sure, but IU, they also missed one earlier. So right there, when you miss that field goal, it could have been 16-10. And I think IU, you guys are lucky because that you did miss that field goal because if not, with that less time left, Ohio State's going forward again on 4th down. And I don't think they're going to go 0-2 on 4th downs. I think that they would have gone 1-2, and they may have picked up a touchdown right there to go down or to go up by 1. So good on you guys for missing that. But I will say Ohio State, you guys do have the worst luck with kickers. Missed 2 against Michigan, I think, last year. Missed the big one as the clock struck midnight against Georgia. Just some terrible luck. I understand. I get your pain. I get it. I understand. So if you go back and you watch the one he actually hit earlier too, though, I do want to say this. If you go back and watch that one, it was close to missing. He was aiming hard for that left upright. He almost missed the first one. And then this time, same thing, almost same distance. He missed wide left. I think this was probably the best defense, like I said, each other has faced. IU ended up with 5 sacks, and I think Julian Sayin is the same way as Ty Simpson. Not
skill level. That's not what I'm saying. They both do things differently, but I think they have this one thing in common. If you pressure Julian Sand, he folds. If you pressure Ty Simpson, he folds, right? We had a lot of things last night or on Saturday night where Julian Sand had like Carnell Tate wide open down the middle, Jeremiah Smith wide open on a streak route, and he's getting sacked, running around in the pocket. If you pressure him, he will fold. And I think that this is like the first real defense he's played. He hasn't been pressured like this all year. He hasn't had a lot of championship moments. And that's what I said last week about IU. I said championship teams have championship moments. And I thought that Ohio State was the championship team. And they still well may be. But last night, they did not have a championship moment. Indiana had the championship moment. Defense played lights out. Mendoza got the ball down the field when he needed to, scored points when they needed to, and IU won this game. Now, it was close. It was a good game. But IU had the championship moment. Indiana had the championship moment. And with that being said, I think these are two of the best teams in the country. I really do. I think they're physical. I think they are. But again, it's hard to tell because this is the first time that either of these teams have played anybody good. So they may make a run in the playoffs. Both teams got first-round byes. We'll see what happens in the second round. But overall, one of the best Big Ten championships we've had in a while. All right, probably going to fly through this one. It is the Big 12 championship, but we all knew what was coming. We all saw it. Texas Tech just had an absolute repeat of this regular season rematch from a couple of weeks ago. Almost the exact same score, almost the exact same way the game played out. 34-7. BYU had 4 turnovers. This game was actually close in the first half. I don't really know what happened. This game was close in the first half. I think they went into the half like 17-7 or something like that. And then in the second half, BYU absolutely imploded. 4 turnovers, just could not hold on to the ball. Bear Brockmeyer was fumbling the ball. Their running backs were fumbling the ball. There was like 2 interceptions in that half. It's just ridiculous. BYU, they couldn't run the ball. They only gained 63 yards on Texas Tech. Seriously, there's not much to say here. Like, Texas Tech just looked dominating. They really did. They played extremely well. They played a really good game. They did exactly what they did in the first time. They came in, they dominated BYU at the line of scrimmage. They moved the ball all over the field with the run game and with the pass game. They have a very explosive offense. Their defense is really good. I mean, 4 turnovers, that's what they've been doing all year. And they spread it out, too. It's not just like one guy. Don't get me wrong. Jacob Rodriguez, the Butkus winner, great player. Gets a ton of turnovers. But they're spreading the turnovers around. A lot of players getting turnovers. Punching balls out for fumbles, getting picks. I mean, it's insane. And they even had that one play where they were running, they were little pass, running down the field. It gets popped out. The ball is out of a Texas Tech player's hands. It bounces right into another Texas Tech receiver's hands. He runs it for like another 10 or 15 yards. It's insane. This was a really, really good matchup. This is a really good game for BYU, or not for BYU. This is not a good game for BYU. This is a really good game for Texas Tech. And yeah, congrats to them on getting the first round bye, winning the Big 12, and just absolutely being dominating on the same team twice. And we talked about this last week, like, would this be an elimination game for BYU? And I think them being at 11 anyway, like, they had to win this game because there were 2 spots either way, because we knew that the top 3, like, if Texas Tech were to win this game, we knew the top 3 was going to be the SEC champion, the Big 10 champion, and the Big 12 champion. And then you'd have 2 more spots for the ACC or another group of 5 and the American, which ended up being Tulane. So this definitely was an elimination game for BYU. They had to win this game, and they just didn't, because they I think they sat right there at 11, and they missed out. So it sucks, but it is what it is. Congratulations to Texas Tech. All right, this is kind of the last championship we're going to talk about. This is the ACC championship, and this was the doomsday scenario for the college football playoff and for the ACC. If you were Notre Dame, you were pulling for Virginia. If you were not, you were pulling for Duke. JMU fans were pulling for Duke because they knew if Duke won this, it would automatically put them into the college football playoff. Because if Virginia won, they were a lock because they would have been one of the highest 5-ranked champions. So Duke, they actually pull off the rematch upset 27-20. Virginia, they actually trailed late by 10 and ended up with a crazy comeback to make the score 20-20. We go to overtime. Duke goes right down the field. They score a touchdown, running the ball extremely well. And then on Virginia's first drive, Chandler Morris, he throws a pick. That's how the game ended. That's how we got the ACC doomsday scenario. And I think that is the reason Miami got into the playoffs. Now, again, I think Miami should have gone into the playoffs. I think they should have been ranked ahead, but only because of head-to-head. But they should have been done. This should have been done weeks ago. But if they left Notre Dame where they were, Miami falls out. There is no ACC. There's no ACC team. And Hunter can lie right through his teeth all he wants to and say that it had absolutely no bearing on that decision. I call BS. No way. 100% it did. 100% it did. Because you just told us a couple weeks ago that the conversation in the room was Notre Dame, Alabama. And that there was a lot of people in that room who did not want to put Alabama above Notre Dame. And they finally did. So they thought very highly of Notre Dame. So you're going to tell me that all of a sudden you think Miami is over Notre Dame? No. Nope. Again, I agree with it, but nope, you're not going to tell me that. You're not going to sit there and tell me that. Absolutely not. You put Miami in as a business decision. That is exactly what it was. It was a business decision. You didn't want a Power 14 or a Power 4 conference to be left out. That's what it was. You put Miami over Notre Dame, and because of the format, we had to put those two G5 teams in, and Notre Dame was the team that got screwed. So I guess I told Notre Dame fans don't look at Alabama or Miami. Just look at the committee and the format, which is that's like 98% true. But I think the other 2% look at Duke. It was their fault. Virginia loses that game. Virginia wins that game, and Notre Dame's in the playoffs. That's what I think. I think they leave Miami out. Had Virginia won that game, I think they leave Miami out. That's what I think. But that's just one man's opinion. It was a really interesting championship week. Me and Isaac both went 5-4 in the picks. Joey 3-6 in the picks. Did not see Western Michigan being that good. Thought Miami of Ohio would have that one. Nope. We all picked Alabama and Georgia won. Thank God. The other ones, you have JMU defeating Troy. We all had that, but they didn't cover the spread of 23 points, which I found surprising. And I did say that Troy had a pretty good defense, and they did hold JMU. It was a close game in the first half. It ended up not being, and we had all the snowballs. That was a really interesting thing in that game. If you didn't see it, a lot of the JMU fans were like throwing snowballs at the Troy players on the field, like during punts, like in the end zone and stuff like that. And it got so bad that the JMU athletic director had to come out onto the field and ask people to stop throwing snowballs in the microphone. Because the refs were telling them they were going to get penalties if they didn't stop. I can't remember if it stopped or not. Probably didn't, but I didn't see another snowball. So, but that doesn't mean it didn't happen. All right. And then the American Conference Championship, Tulane basically just, beat the brakes off of North Texas. North Texas made it look good. They had a little comeback there at the end. Couple questionable calls. Everybody's really mad about that one call. Now I will say, the refs got it wrong on the kick-catch interference. They really did. It should have been a penalty on Tulane, not a Tulane fumble in recovery to go have really good field position. They hit the returner before he caught it or even had a chance to catch it, and they didn't call it. That was bad. But everybody's really mad about that play, and maybe I'll put it on the screen right here. Everybody's really mad about that play where North Texas, they throw a pick. Tulane is running it back. Right as he's about to cross the end zone, the North Texas quarterback comes and throws his shoulder into that ball, and it looks as if Tulane fumbles it out of the back of the end zone. It should have been a touchback, right? Well, after going to review, they don't bring it back. And I would say, I understand why you're upset about that. They called it a touchdown on the field, and they said that the call was upheld. I understand why. It's because they did not have inconceivable evidence. It was close, guys. I understand what you're saying. They're just like, oh, well, you look at the quarterback's body, you look at where the ball is, but you can't tell exactly where the ball is. You can't tell if the ball's out or not. He's coming across the plane. That's your answer. So, a lot of interesting football this weekend, but the field is set, guys. Thank you all so much for listening. I'm just a guy who likes talking about college football, and we love it here. So, and we always want you to remember that no matter what team you pull for, if you're on God's side, you're always on the winning team. Just know there is a Father in heaven who loves you and wants to have a relationship with you, and if you don't have it, you need it. The gospel has done so much for our lives. It is a core foundation and belief here at TBD College Football. If you don't know what the gospel is, the gospel can be summed up like this. I am a sinner. You are a sinner. We have fallen short of the glory of God. We have sinned against God Almighty, the creator of the universe. God, in his love for us, in order to get us back, because he loved us, and that's the only reason, because we were his creation and he loved us, sent his only son, Jesus, to die on a cross and take your penalty and pay it. And so that way you could be reconciled to the Father. And then he rose from the dead 3 days later, defeating death and sin forever. And all you have to do, the Bible says, all you have to do in order to receive that is believe in your heart and confess with your mouth that Jesus is Lord and that God raised him from the dead. Repent and believe the gospel. It will change your life. If you have any questions about that, you can always reach out to us on our YouTube right here in the comment section, on our TikTok and Instagram DMs at TBDCFB. We'd love to talk with you guys. We're praying for our listeners. We'd love to hear from you, and we just thank you so much for listening. We will be back soon. We got some bowl games starting. Not sure when, but we will be back. We got Christmas just around the corner, and, we wish you guys a happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and we just thank you so much for listening. Go Dogs. Bye-bye.